long last, I have the PS4 Pro in my possession, and to celebrate this momentous occasion, we're going to kick off with a look at Final Fantasy XV, the Judgment Disc demo. There's been a lot of discussion happening around this release as of late, and I wanted to see for myself how it's looking, so today we're going to focus on how the game is running on the PS4 Pro. Of course, once we get a copy of the final game, we will be sure to dive into more detail across all versions, but for now, let's look at the Pro. Earlier this month, it was revealed that Square Enix is supporting the PS4 Pro with features such as high dynamic range and higher resolution rendering. It was also noted that after release, we'll be receiving a patch targeting a full 1080p 60 frames per second on the Pro, though they did admit that currently they're seeing between 40 and 50 frames per second. So with this Judgment Disc version of the demo then, we actually do have some initial Pro support here to look at, but it does at least sound like there are further improvements to come. What that entails in this version of the game then actually lies here in the options menu. You can choose between a high quality rendering mode and a lightweight mode, which appears to be on par visually with the base PS4 mode. The lightweight mode that we're seeing here then is basically equivalent to what you get on a stock PlayStation 4. The game is using a dynamic resolution here, resulting in pixel counts ranging from 900p up to 1080p. It looks good, but it's definitely somewhat soft overall. The Pro mode, however, is a nice step up in image quality. Based on various pixel count tests then, it looks like we're seeing 3200 by 1800 here. And if you look closely along such things as this cage here, you can actually see the checkerboard artifacts, as well as stronger edges which we used for counting. The combination of temporal anti-aliasing, low precision motion blur, and checkerboard rendering do, however, ultimately result in one of the blurrier looking games I've tested on the Pro thus far, but really overall it does look pretty good. There are other improvements as well in this mode, such as high quality shadows with increased resolution and better filtering, improved texture filtering, and of course some minor LOD tweaks. In either mode then, Final Fantasy XV is shaping up to be an absolutely lovely looking game with incredibly high quality animation, fantastic lighting, and a beautifully designed world to explore. Unfortunately, there are still some issues to work out. Now, over the past couple of years, Final Fantasy XV has received a number of demos showcasing the engine, and each one has suffered from a variety of different problems, including very serious slowdown and frame pacing issues. So now that the game is almost ready for release then, we can say that things have improved tremendously, and drops under 30 frames per second, at least on the Pro here, are basically eliminated. Unfortunately, even though they have reached the 30 frames per second goal, there is still one issue which remains, and that is improper frame pacing. Yes, this bugbear, first observed in the most recent demo release earlier this year, returns once again and interferes with the fluidity of the game. What's interesting about this problem is that we actually see a significant increase in frame pacing issues when utilizing the higher quality rendering mode. The frame rate still averages out to 30 FPS in this mode, of course, but the uneven frame persistence ultimately results in a much jerkier experience all around. Now, as you can see then by now, the lightweight mode actually manages to overcome this issue for the most part. We do still see occasional frame pacing issues pop up here and there, but we're actually looking at a pretty steady 30 frames per second here. Now, issues like this are certainly nothing new, and a lot of developers have a solid track record when it comes to fixing these problems. Mafia 3, for instance, shipped with severe frame pacing issues, and within a week of its release, the development team completely corrected it. Where on the flip side, something like Bloodborne or Dark Souls 3 continues to suffer from the problem and will likely never be fixed. With Final Fantasy XV, it's not entirely clear where the root cause lies and why the problem has persisted for so long, but we really are hoping that it will be corrected by launch. We'll certainly keep an eye out for it. Looking beyond this issue, I actually want to take a moment to mention the remarkable high dynamic range mode. While there is no way for me to properly represent HDR here, I thought it actually might be fun to present filmed footage of the game running in HDR on an OLED TV. The camera does at least capture some of its majesty though. The reason I want to highlight this though is simply because the implementation in Final Fantasy XV is looking so incredibly good. Colors are unbelievably vibrant, the highlights super bright, and the darker colors perfectly sit within the scene. It really is one of the best implementations of the effect I've seen yet, up there with the likes of Shadow Warrior 2. Even more surprising, it does not require any additional tweaking to get right, plus you can toggle the option from within the game's menu. So if you're looking for a game to show off what HDR can do, this might be a pretty good choice. And really, overall, the point here is that Final Fantasy XV is looking incredible right now and shaping up very nicely. Image quality is greatly improved, as is performance, and if Square Enix can sort out these terribly distracting frame pacing issues, we could be looking at one of the best looking games of the year. Even better, the Pro support isn't finished, as Square is still promising that 1080p 60 mode, and hopefully that will pan out. But we'll find out soon enough when the game launches in just a few short weeks. But that's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe as always, and follow us on Twitter. And until next time, this is John signing off.
あんたは
シドニー、シドソフィアの孫娘、ここの整備士。
さっさと運ばせろ。親父は大事に使う。